when I was at university, I used to often go visit my parents. They lived in another country, actually. And I just hang out there, eat my mom's delicious food, and not care about what was happening at university. But this particular time, I was there in the middle of the week, and I knew that when I came back, it was exam time. And again, I didn't really care too much about that, until I went back to university and I had a whole bunch of unread mails, and one of those mails contained my exam schedule. Now, as a business student, I was required to take a bunch of different exams, one of which was marketing and another was economics, which happened to be at exactly the same day at the same time. So I saw another email from the head of the economics department who said, well, the economics exams are being scheduled throughout the day because they're being done on the computer labs. If your session was, conflicting with another session, be sure to come see me by Wednesday noon latest, and I will change for you. Now, I read this on Thursday. So I panicked, and I ran to his office like my life depended on it, hoping that I could maybe talk myself out of this one. But when I got there, I saw a whole line of other students who were clearly in the same predicament as me. So I took my spot in the line. And when it was my turn, I came face to face with the German professor, Marcus Tanner. And he looked me up and down and he said, yes. And I said, well, because my exam and I was in Cyprus because I was doing my passport renewal and then the plane was late and then, that's why. And he's like, all right, listen. I'm so sick of you students, you're coming in here and you're expecting things to be done for you when you don't even have the responsibility to show up on time. You know what, there's no such thing as a free lunch. You can't get something for nothing, So you go home and you write me a letter explaining why, and if I like your excuse, then I'll consider changing it. Strict. So okay, I went home, I wrote him the letter. Next day he wasn't there, I put it under his door. The day after that, I wake up, I take it easy, have some breakfast with my friends, and then I decide to check my mail, and there's a mail from Dr. Tanner saying, well, I read your paper, your letter, and I will change your exam. Be sure to come to my office no later than noon today. I saw it at 10 to noon. So I panicked, and I ran like my life depended on it. And when I got there, he looked me up and down, and he said, yes. And I said, hi, sorry, I know you're on your way out, but where I'm staying, we don't have access to the internet, and my computer wasn't working. And he's like, okay. All right, whatever. I'm gonna change your exam. So what was a 3 p.m. exam became a 9 a.m. exam. Now in all this drama, there was one thing I had forgotten to do, and that was to study for my exams. So I found myself on the eve of 2 exams not having studied, so I crammed and crammed and crammed so hard that when I fell asleep, I woke up the next day and it was 10 a.m. So I panicked! And I ran like my life depended on it to the library, where I knocked frantically on the door. And Marcus Tanner opened the door and I was face to face. And he looked me up and down and he said, yes? And I said, yeah, I overslept. He said, aren't you the girl I rescheduled for? Yeah. I'll think about it. And he closes the door. So there I am in the library, in my pajama, thinking, well, shit, I may have an exam in 5 minutes, or who knows? So I ran around the library asking people, can I borrow a pen? Can I borrow a pencil? Can I borrow a calculator? And I stood there in front of the closed door, grabbing my newly borrowed belongings, until finally he opened the door. And he said, okay, I've thought about it. I'm going to let you take the exam. I'm like, yeah, cool, man. There's no such thing as a free lunch. You're going to write me a 10,000-word essay. And it's going to be entitled Liberal Arts and Student Citizenship. And you're going to have it on my desk Friday, 9 a.m. Not 9:01, not 9:02, 9 a.m. And if it's not there on my desk, I'm going to fail you this exam. Yeah, man, whatever, just let me take the exam. And I'm proud to tell you that he didn't have to fail me the exam, because I did that on my own. Thank you very much. But I decided to write him his report anyway. And guess what? It was on his desk Friday, 9 a.m. Shocking, I know. And a week later, I was walking on campus, and this guy I know came up to me, and he's like, Lubna, are you the same Lubna who wrote Marcus Tanner a report? Yes, why? Oh, he has not shut up about that report for the past 2 days. Really? Best we pay Dr. Tanner a visit, don't you think? So I ran to his office, like my life depended on it. And when I got there, he looked me up and down and he said, Lubna! And I said, Marcus! I loved your report, he said. You should be an economics major. And he spent the next half hour trying to convince me to switch my major to economics, having very conveniently forgotten that I just failed the very first economics exam I'd taken. But alas, his efforts were in vain. I didn't change. There's too much maths for me in economics. But I did make a new friend. Anytime I saw him on campus, he'd sort of wave at me and I'd wave back. And actually I did pass the course because I did study for my final exam and I actually did show up for it, and on time. But actually I was at my parents' house not long ago and I found the report. It was there on the desk, all 20 pages of it, and in big black bold letters at the front was the title, "There's no such thing as a free lunch."